This party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
My name is Adamska.
Hello everyone, this is Major Adamska, and this is my very first commentary countdown. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I'm grateful that I finally have been given the chance, now that I have a microphone. For this list, I wanted to talk about a franchise that I care about very much, Assassin's Creed. With 5 games already out on consoles and several others on handhelds, the series has become something special to both gamers and critics alike. So now, with the next game in the series officially announced, I thought it was a good time to celebrate and make a list of my picks for the top 10 assassination missions in the franchise. Now, to make things easier on myself and to avoid picking for one specific game too often, I'm only going to do 2 missions per game. And these are only going to be the missions where the targets are either fought or killed. It can't be like the hang gliding missions that got you to where you're supposed to fight them. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's begin. Alright, starting this list off, we have Leandros, captain of the Masyaf Templars in Assassin's Creed Revelations. While the hand-to-hand fight with him at the end is short, the carriage fight between that is actually pretty fun. His level is one of the more fun tutorial levels you get to play in a game, I think. And while I did say it's only the mission where they are fought or killed, Leandros is fought in one mission and killed in the next, so technically it counts. Now, although I like his level a lot, my opinions of him as a character are the exact opposite. Leandros has got to be one of the most evil characters in the series. He's arrogant, he's violent, and clearly has no concern for his troops. In fact, his most dangerous attack involves throwing people at you. Oh well, I guess it does make it all the more fun.
Don't you ever stop howling.
Now, ordinarily, Ezio is respectful and kind of forgiving to his targets when they die, but when Leandros goes, that all goes out the window.
Requiescat in pace, bastardo.
Taking the number 9 spot on my list is Juan Borgia, cousin to main bad guy Cesare Borgia and the one in control of all of his funding. Juan is one of the 3 main allies of Cesare in the hostile takeover of Italy. But despite that fact, Juan isn't really all that significant to the game itself. He only appears in 2 cutscenes and he doesn't even speak in them. And even in his own chapter, where he's supposed to be the main problem, he doesn't even appear until halfway through the last mission. That being said though, that mission actually is pretty fun. Especially when you try to get the 100% of assassinating him from a bench while not disturbing the party, but still stopping him from strangling the courtesan that he brings in with him. If you did, give yourselves a pat on the back. You deserve it. At number 8 we have Grand Master Templar Robert de Sable. This fight was great for 2 reasons. Number 1 was getting the chance for revenge after how badly you were beaten at the beginning of the game. And 2, being the ever-increasing waves of troops that you fight along the way to the final showdown. That being said, without the support of his troops, Robert actually isn't a huge threat. he, can be taken down in a hit or two. Sorry this one was so short, but I kind of don't have much more to say about him. My favorite of the Altair missions and revelations would have to be the Mentor's return against a boss. This guy is so evil, and I have disliked him ever since the first game. But what cemented my hatred for him was in the book The Secret Crusade, where his hatred for Altair leads to his coup and the murder of Altair's son Seth. And eventually, he'll end up killing Altair's closest friend Malik too. Now, as you saw in Revelations, a boss continues to become more corrupt in his quest for power, and his authority within the Brotherhood eventually drives Altair into hiding for the next 20 years. So, while this mission isn't exciting, it's still one of my favorite in the series because it rights so many wrongs. Working your way to Masyaf Castle while killing off a boss's lieutenants is satisfying, and restoring the true followers of the Creed makes you feel a sense of accomplishment. This feeling is even better when a boss is finally stopped, becoming the very first victim of the assassin's hidden gun. This one, believe it or not, is actually a tie. At number 6, we have Rodrigo Borgia. Now, they're both on here because his missions in chapters 11 and 14 are virtually the same thing. Do you pick the battle with 4 other assassins with Ezio, or do you pick the battle with 4 other Ezios with Ezio? I probably would say the first fight is a little bit more fun, because at least with the other assassins they fight a little differently and have some quirky dialect. But the second one could have been so much better if, he's already got that cool staff. Let him use some of the Eden powers in the actual fight like he does in the cutscene. But no, it just functions like a regular spear. Still though, Rodrigo Borgia is fun in any of the fights that he's in, and he has a ton of health. It's sad though, he survived all that just to be killed by an apple. So sad. Now, I admit this one is shorter than the others, and I'm sure plenty of you disagree with me putting it this high. But the reason I did is, well, one, because the Bonfire of the Vanities is such a fun DLC. And it would be a little weird, I guess, to put, his random lieutenant this high on the list. But, as a whole, dealing with all of the lieutenants that are butchers and bakers and candlestick makers, it's a fun pack. And Savonarola's death, while most of it is just in cutscene, it's a good way to end the pack. I think the way they ended it was a good way to show Ezio's wholeness as a character, and I like that. Al-Mualim was a great final boss. I honestly didn't trust him throughout the whole game, and so by the time his Templar allegiances announced, I had already figured it out. That being said, I wasn't expecting the town to look the way it was. The entire place, civilians and assassins, are being controlled by the Apple's power, and you best be ready to fight them if you want to live. This fight had so much build-up in such a short amount of time, and it didn't disappoint. Starting off fighting the 9 previous Templar targets all at once, which is easily my favorite moment in the game. The second part, fighting the 9 Al-Mualim copies, was also a fun fight, but it wasn't as cool as the first, especially when they all disappear after like 2 or 3. But the final part is a little bit of a letdown. The flashing HUD is, cool, I guess, but it isn't quite as epic as the rest of it, which is why it's only this far on the list. You know, it's odd. Out of all the games in the series, AC3 would have to be my least favorite. So having its 2 targets reach this high is truly a surprise to me. I even had Hatham Kenway on my previous list, which was for the stupidest bosses, which you guys should go watch. Anyway, at number 3 we have Admiral Nicholas Biddle. Now, in terms of pure gameplay, at least in my opinion, this is one of the best missions in the series. If the other 2 didn't have such a huge personal stake in them, this mission might have even taken number 1. It's enormous. You start the battle off with a 1-on-3 ship battle with you all alone against the Randolph and 2 lesser ships. Then, after taking those 2 ships out and boarding the Randolph itself, there's a boss battle with Admiral Biddle on the top deck of the ship, which eventually leads to the lower deck. Finally, when Biddle goes down, he doesn't ask for mercy. He just simply asks to die alone with his ship, which Connor lets him, in a blaze of glory. It's an awesome mission.
Captain, and what of Biddle? You show him mercy in the face of... I guess that's that then.
I have waited for over 5 games and spent well over 100 hours on this series waiting for this one man to die. Number 2 is Warren Vidic, and as an added bonus, former assassin turned Templar Daniel Cross. This mission was incredible. For the first time since the ending of AC2, you're finally able to use Desmond as a killing machine. There's no need to be sneaky or subtle, just a full raid on Abstergo Industries to rescue your dad and kill everyone that gets in your way. You remember the original purpose of even going through Ezio's memory was to try and train him to be an assassin. Well, we finally get to see that in full for something more than just finding around. And it's awesome. Plus, after killing Cross, you get his silenced pistol, which has infinite ammo and it kills instantly. Now, the final confrontation was a surprise. At first, I honestly couldn't believe that he was dead. Warren Vidic just seems like the type that can survive anything that they throw at him. But I was so happy to see him go. And it's nice to see Desmond actually use the apple in a much cooler way than the health drain from Brotherhood. While Vidic was a must on my needed to die list, at least he didn't kill anyone you cared about. But Cesare Borgia did.
So consider this an invitation from my family to yours.
Out of all the villains in the series, Cesare Borgia was the most unique to me. He was the closest to Ezio, I think, in terms of age and skill level and appearance. And in some ways, he kind of feels like Dark Link was in The Legend of Zelda. They're so similar, but yet they're still complete opposites. And the level of Vienna, Spain, or Viana, Spain, I don't know exactly how you say it, is one of my all-time favorite levels in video games in terms of appearance. With the siege towers and the castles, it looks like a Lord of the Rings battle to me, which is just so cool. Now, this fight reminds me of the one against Rodrigo Borgia, which, you know, makes sense. They both have so much health and they have the constant respawning allies, but this one felt more complete. Maybe it's because basically Cesare is the evil version of Ezio, but it was just nice to see an end to their great rivalry, and It was the perfect end to my favorite game in the series, which is why it takes number 1 on my list. And there's my list. Thank you all for watching. If I missed any good ones, leave a comment. Tell me who you thought I left out and why you think they should be on there, and I'd love to hear it. If you can, click the like and subscribe button below, and to those of you guys who actually do it, thank you. It means so much to me for your support.
You're pretty good.
You're pretty good. Pretty good.